Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video I aim to show how I would set up a slideshow in Lightroom that I can use in a similar way to using PowerPoint, but using my catalogue of Lightroom images as the source for the slides. I'm going to work with this small catalogue that I have created from a recent shoot at a music event. The first thing that we have to do for this is select the images that we want. Now, you could be doing this from a larger catalogue. It's the same process. The first thing is then to create a collection that is going to be the basis for our slideshow. Go to collections here. I'm in the library module, and we have a number of options, but we're going to create a collection. So create a simple collection, and we're going to call it GN1, and we don't want it inside any other sets, and at the moment I'm not going to set it as the target collection, so we can create that collection, and there we have the collection. Now there's different ways of putting images into this for our slideshow. The simplest way is to drag and drop images, and you want to go through and select the images. Now in this catalogue that I have highlighted some images in green and some I have flagged. So we're going to work with the flagged images, and I'm going to select those flagged images, and there they are. At the moment that's just displaying the flagged images, and there are several ways that we can add them to the collection that we're going to work from. So the simplest way to do that is to shift and click, and we've got them all selected here, and then I can simply drag those images over the collection, and that will automatically add them to the collection. The other thing I could do, if I want to actually add more images from the catalogue, there we go, let's take the flag off and there's all our images again. So if I wanted to add further images, I can just click on the image and drag and drop it over the collection, and it would add it to the collection. So I'm not going to go into too much detail here about setting up a collection, but this is the collection we've got. Now within this collection we have a few things that we can do. Lightroom is a catalogue, it's a list, and that list references the images in your folder structure on your computer. So what we are going to do does not move anything on the computer, does not delete anything. We're working from a collection, which is basically an enhanced list, and the list is shown by means of thumbnails or preview images. So these relate to the raw files or your original files on the computer, but nothing is going to be moved or deleted in what we are doing. So the first thing here is we've got images here that are duplicates. So I don't need, for instance, that image. Simplest way to get rid of it, right click, remove from collection. So it has removed it from this collection. It has not removed it from the catalogue. It has not done anything on your hard drive. So there's a colour and a mono version of the same image there. So let's get rid of the colour one, remove from collection. Do we have others? There's another duplication there, remove from collection. And there's one there where I have got two versions of the same image. Let's remove the colour one. So there we're down to 30 images for our slide presentation. But you might say, well, they're in the order that Lightroom by default has stored them, and that's not the order I want to show them in. Well, that's not a problem. Within the collection we can reorder where the items are in the list. We're not changing where they are on the computer in any way. We're not actually even changing the order in which they will by default show in your catalogue. We're reordering them in the collection. So for instance, these images here we want to put at the beginning, and here again we'll move that one up. Now you can control click and select multiple images, I'm not doing that because it interferes with the instructions for my screen capture software, so I'm just moving them individually. Let's move that one up. Now that image actually came, that part of the performance came in there. So, and there's our final one with Chris McNichol, the star of the show, taking a bow. And so the other guys we've got in order here, and we've basically got them in the order we want. So we've reordered them in the collection only, and that's the order that they will appear in the slideshow. So we're ready to basically go into the slideshow module at this point, having our collection highlighted. So let's go into slideshow, and now we've got our thumbnails along the bottom in the order in which we wanted them, and we'll highlight the first one, and we'll go over to our slideshow control panel here. So we've got a few things here. We've got, let's go right up to the top. So options in this. Fill frame, we don't want to do that. These images have been cropped to suit the content, and if I do zoom to fill frame, we're going to get into problems because it's going to zoom the images in. Not a big problem for that one, but for other images it may do. So I would leave that unchecked. Then the style of the image, we've got a stroke border. Whether if you like that, you can have it. We've also got a little shadow. You can take that off if you want. I think the stroke border works very nicely. And we've got grid lines, and we're showing our little rebates here that we've got the sort of margins around the images. So we can alter those, but I'm going to leave those just as they are. You can do that to suit whatever way you want to display your images. I like the little stroke border. I actually quite like the little shadow, so we'll leave that. So the next, let's minimize those, so we're done with that. Now the next thing is the identity plate, and the identity plate reference is this. And this by default is my default identity plate, which is just my name, but it may default to some Windows generic thing. So you can change that, and it's very simple to change that. We can change that by going into here and to edit. Now you can type in, so I could type in here LRPS, and the next step is actually you can save that or not. It'll hold that for this slideshow and this collection, but we can save it. So I can save that as let's call it LRPS, and I can save that, and then we can access that again for other areas, and we'll see that. So we'll click OK on that, and I'm not too worried about the size because I can resize that and I can reposition. So let's bring it right down to the bottom. And the thing here is, if we go into layouts and we show our guides, there's the limit of our image. So we want that below the image, so we don't want it to be over the image, so we'll pop that there. So you can take that off again. So the next thing, we have things like, you can change the color, you can do all sorts of things. That's up to yourself. So for the moment we're just going to leave things alone. And then we've got things like watermarking, star ratings, but we don't want those. Text overlays, we don't want those. So we're done with that. So that's our identity plate. Then the background color, actually there's a couple of these are checked. So if we take that off, we can have a black background, and that might be helpful for display, or you might want to have the grey background colour. I'm not really sure what effect that colour wash has, but on or off. Anyway, so let's leave grey as the background, and that's our background colour. Now, we've got an option to add an intro screen and an ending screen, and we can add text to those. By default, it's showing the identity plate that we have saved. So if I look at the scale of that, you can see it's actually quite small, but we can scale that up. So we don't have to go back into edit to scale it up, but you may not want that as your identity plate. So we can go in here and we can edit that. Now, I'd already set up a text in there, so that actually, if I OK that, you can see that that's showing Belfast Guitar Night. And again, we can size that. So if you want to change that, it's basically the same thing. Go into Edit. You've got your text here. You can delete that one out, and you know, you can type in whatever you want. And size here again, if I OK that, we've scaled it here. So you can you know, you don't need to worry too much about the text size, and you can scale it up there. We're gonna, let's go, I'm gonna put down, keep the theme. So the next one is then the ending screen, and it's the same thing. We can go in here and edit that, and let me see, we can, let's put a new one in, and let's delete that. So, and again, scaling it up, we can do that. So the next step then, having done that, is we are going to, I said I want to do this like a PowerPoint presentation. I don't want a timed interval, so we set it on manual here. May come up as automatic. That lets you set timings and do a sort of an audio-visual presentation that just runs automatically. If that's what you want to do, go for it. But from this point of view, is a presentation that you can talk to. So we go on manual control. Quality I'll just leave to standard for the moment, and that is our slideshow. So we've got it ordered, we've got all our setup here, and the next thing is to put that into a saved slideshow. So again, it's giving us options. Now, in this occasion, where do we want to put it? Well, we're going to put it with those selected images. So we're going to call this this is actually then our saved slideshow. So we're going to GM slideshow. We don't need to make virtual copies, and we're not going to make that the target. So we're going to create that, and it's going to create that within that folder. But we can still, as a slideshow, we can still work with this folder, and we can reorder the images and delete as we want, or add to the slideshow now, and the images will be put in the slideshow, will fit in where you want them, and we're good to go. So we can now preview that, and I hope this will work. I'm having a little bit of problem with a high resolution screen with the software, so let's see how we go. There we go, and there is our title screen, and we can scroll through the images in the slideshow. Don't worry about the resizing, that's just, you know, on this screen, but there we go. Now, we have got a slideshow that we can run from Lightroom on the computer. But let's say you're going somewhere and you're working from a computer that's already set up to a big smart screen or a projector, and you can't connect your well, if you've done it on a desktop as I have here, you're not going to be able to take that with you. So maybe you've got it on a laptop. Well, that's grand. But one of the simplest ways to deal with this is to actually then save the slideshow in a format that is transportable. And the simplest way to do that is to export this slideshow as a PDF. And as you can see, there is one I have saved earlier. So simply leave the settings here alone. Now, if you're working, I'm working from a 4K monitor. From experience, I find it's fine just to leave that alone, because when you're running the PDF, the software will sort the thing out with the projector or the screen that you're using and sort out the resolution. So if you're using a standard high definition monitor, then you have no worries. You'll have 1960 by 1080 here, and just save. And quality, you can put that up. I mean, you can trial and error and see how it works. I've just found these default settings are working okay for me. So we'll cancel that, and the next thing I will do is I will drop that down, presentations, and then we're going to double click on that, and there we are, and there we have our slideshow all beautifully saved. And when you want to present it, you can go up to view and put it in full screen mode, and there's your presentation there, all ready to go. Beautiful. So, and you can escape out of that, and you can see that you've got your intro screen, and then right at the end you've got your end screen. Now, there is one thing that I did leave out, and that is that if you want to, you can actually use for the end screen or the intro screen, you can actually use an image. And maybe you find that at your end screen what you would like to do is show an image that gives your contact details or your social media, if you're on 500px, or your website details. So what you can do there is go here and go to edit, and you can see here that you have the option to use a graphical identity plate. Now what that means is you can use an image in PNG format. It's a Windows format, PNG, and basically with PNG file you can then drag it in there or locate the file. Now I've one on my desktop that I'm going to use. Click OK, and again, just like text, you can scale that, and then you can leave that as your final slide showing text. So might be something that might be of use, but that's the other thing you can do. We've made an edit now, so if we wanted that, we would have to then re-export as a separate PDF file. But that was just to show that other little option that you have. So I hope that has been helpful, and so thanks for watching.